decision at the PSC to remind all members coming before the PSC of this specific act, because we do not want the PSC to be misled. And if you are not in a position to provide factual information to this Public Accounts Committee, ask for time and time will be provided. So I trust that you are so guided. With that said, please introduce your team to the members of the PSC.
Good afternoon, members of the committee. On my right, I have former REO, Mr. Orin Gordon. On my left, I have Ms. Chandel Major from the Public Works Department. I have Mr. Alfred Les Flores, engineer. Dr. Gregory Harris, Regional Health Officer. Also with me, I have Ms. Simone Johnson, Personnel Officer, and Ms. Vanessa Williams, Chief Accountant.
Thank you. REO and team, members of the Public Accounts Committee for the year 2017 for Region number 10. We have 12 remaining paragraphs, and for 2018, we have 29 paragraphs. I put all of the paragraphs for 2017, and I put paragraphs 10101 to 1116 for our consideration. The floor is open to all members.
Thank you, Comrade Chairman. Comrade Chairman, the last time we met with this agency, we found that there exists a person filling the position of Deputy Regional Executive Officer. And we also unearthed that that person does not hold the signing authority for Program 1, which is Admin and Finance. And we were guided by the Accountant General, who is the Chief Accountant of this country, that the signing authority should be vested with the Deputy Regional Executive Officer as the Program Manager. We were informed by the REO then that the signing authority was with the Chief Accountant. And this committee, the Public Accounts Committee of Guyana, guided the REO that the signing authority should be with the officer in the name of the Deputy Regional Executive Officer. May I ask the REO what measure was taken from then to now as it relates to the roles and responsibilities of the Deputy Regional Executive Officer, and if that current officer has now been given the signing authority for Program 1?
REO.
Comrade Chair, the Deputy Regional Region 10 has positions for 2 Deputy Regional Executive Officers, one for finance and one for admin. The gentleman in question that Mr. Maipa mentioned, he will assume the position as DREO admin. It all function with the functions of supervising the administration. The signing authority for Program 1 until the public. Yes.
So you will be advertising for the other posts?
Yes, it will be advertised. It will be advertised. It has been advertised in 2017 and 2019 also.
Comrade Chairman, I hear the distinguished REO in his explanation. And I did hear him say, Mr. Mahipol, I want to remind him I'm an honorable member of this House. But notwithstanding that, sir, I want to turn his attention to the list of approved positions under ministries, departments, and regions as approved by Budget Estimates 2022 most recently. And I also turn to the Accountant General and the Auditor General, and of course the Finance Secretary for their guidance. I hear the REO indicating that there is a position for 2 DREOs. But from the document that was approved by the National Assembly and assented to, which has the list of approved positions for these regions, speaks to Region 10. And Region 10 has one program called Admin and Finance. Admin and Finance is one program, not 2. And additionally, existing in that one program is one Deputy Regional Executive Officer who is the program manager for that program. So I would like to know now, where is it and who approved the creation of a second DREO in the region, because it's outside of the budget estimates that has the list of approved positions. And when you say that he will assume the position to head admin, when will that happen? When will you go ahead and advertise if there is no structural change to the existing positions within the region that is as per approved by budget estimates?
Aria?
Comrade Chairman, I was guided by some correspondence that was from the Permanent Secretary, Department of Public Service, Ministry of the Presidency, dated 2017, where they would have listed a position of Deputy Regional Executive Officer Admin, Administrative to be one that was the creation and filling of that position was asked for in 2017 under the Reginald Broderson was the permanent secretary there. And then also in 2020, yes. Also in 2019, Miss Marvelyn Stevens, Secretary Public Service Commission, would have sent a correspondent, would have been written to, by the then REO, Mr. Oren Gordon, asking to fill Deputy Regional Executive Officer. So our organizational chart in Region 10 would have positions for 2 DREOs.
No, I'm disagreeing with you, Comrade Chairman. I'm disagreeing with the Honorable Gentleman on the basis that, one, he spoke to circular in 2017 and 2019 that speaks to the filling of Deputy Regional Executive Officer, which is an administrative office which holds the responsibility for admin and finance, which is that one program. The only way I will have to accept the gentleman's explanation, sir, is if he shows me another circular that speaks to the creation of the vacancy for a DREO finance.
Chairman, Comrade Chairman, could you please give me a moment, please? Thank you. Comrade Chairman.
Go ahead.
I would like to ask my personnel officer to respond.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon, all protocol observed. I am Simone Johnson, Senior Personnel Officer attached to RDC Region 10. As it relates to the question at hand, the regional administration on our authorized inventory, we have two positions of Deputy Regional Executive Officer. One with the responsibility of finance, and two, the administrative aspect of the RDC. That person will overlook the day-to-day functioning of the entire administration, which falls under health, public works, agri, all 5 programs as it relates to staffing. Now, the person in question that we speak of holds that responsibility of administration. That position was approved and issued by the Public Service Ministry in 2017. The date of the memorandum is the 26th of June, 2017, and the subject is approval to create and fill positions. So in actual fact, we got the approval to fill one position of Deputy Regional Executive Officer on the administrative program 1. And the person at hand that we speak of at the moment is currently holding that position and has the responsibility of all the administrative aspects of the RDC.
But we are missing a critical point. In fact, a couple of points, Comrade Chairman. The first one is the operationalization of Program 1, which is Admin and Finance, is being overseen by the Chief Accountant. Correct? All operational aspect of Program 1 in terms of the regional accounting unit is being managed by the Chief Accountant. Am I correct with that?
Correct.
So how is it that we can have the Chief Accountant also holding the signing responsibility for finances in Program 1?
The sign-in responsibility, if you look at a Deputy Regional Executive Officer's JD, and that's why we asked for the clarification, and very sorry that I didn't get to work with one of the JDs, it specifically outlined that the PS Finance has that authority, that financial physical authority.
But you don't have a PS
right?
Finance.
We don't have a PS Finance presently because the person is on pre-retirement leave, but that person was holding that position. The Chief Accountant now is a person who would have been asked to act in the absence of the PS Finance. So until such time that that position has been filled, it will go back to protocol.
But I need some further guidance from our Accountant General. Specifically, you have an existing Deputy Regional Executive Officer that is, as you're guiding me, is for admin. The program is admin and finance. In the absence of the second DREO that speaks to finance, then administratively speaking, one would expect the current one that exists, the current DREO that exists, will be the person holding that responsibility until it is filled, because that person is expected to have the signing authority until someone else takes it over. My concern, additionally, Accountant General, through you, Comrade Chairman, is how is it that this region has the approval for 2 DREOs when what was approved in the National Assembly as recent as 2022 that speaks to the vacant, that the approved positions in the public service speaks to 1 Deputy Regional Executive Officer on scale 12, salary scale 12 for region number 10. So can we at least have some guidance there?
Good afternoon, Chair and members. With regards to this matter and what Member Mike Paul is contention is, why is it that the region has asked for another DRU? That decision lies with the head of the
contention, AG.
What's your contention?
My contention is that there is an approved position by the Public Service Commission and was approved by the national estimates for one DRU at salary 12, salary scale 12. What we found is that what is existing in the region is a DRU that is not heading admin and finance. If the region believes that they need another DRU and they're on the verge of advertising and they're on the verge of giving that responsibility of finance to the second DRU, fine. But you have one that is existing now. And that one, in my view, and I'm going to be subjecting myself to your guidance, that one has to hold the signing responsibility of the region of Program 1 until the other one comes or until the position is filled for the other one. You cannot take away the responsibility from the one that is there, give it to the chief accountant, and then hold the chief accountant responsible when the chief accountant is not paid for that function.
Member Michael, could you give me a chance to speak? Thank you.
Yeah.
In reviewing an agency's operations, in terms of their HR needs, that's the responsibility of the head of the budget agency. One would assume, based on what the RU outlined, is that there is need for another DRU. And based on that, then the request was sent to at that time, it was the Department of Public Service, asking for another DRU. The designation of DRU admin does not dictate that he has to be the admin head of the program. Admin is a different responsibility as against a DRU finance. So he does not have currently, he's saying the current DRU, his designation is DRU admin, but is with the old operation, the admin operations, but not the operations of the finance. In this case here, what the RU did, because there is the PAS is on pre-retirement leave, he is now, at least that's what I think I heard, that the chief accountant is acting as the PAS. And based on that, then the chief accountant can be given the responsibility at the moment.
Thank you very much for that guidance, AG. May I ask?
Most welcome.
May I ask the RU, who is currently acting as your chief accountant?
The accountant.
So the person that you introduced is that is with us here is your PAS finance acting.
Yes, sir.
And you have somebody that's acting as accountant.
Chief accountant.
As chief accountant, yes, and accountant.
Yes.
And you have somebody else that has stepped up as acting.
Yes, sir.
So there are a set of people that would have moved up,
yes,
to perform those functions. I'm happy that we have clarified that. Now that we have clarified the difference, the accountant general is agreeing that there's nothing wrong with the PAS finance being the signing authority for finances in Program 1. But AG, if you may guide me a little further, the approved position of a second DRU, as the RU is indicating, he's speaking to it from that there was a memo to that effect from 2017. But in this 2022 budget estimates that were approved, does not show two deputy regional executive officers. How is that so?
To the chair, I can't actually say why. I don't know if the REO did not indicate to Ministry of Finance that there is need for another DREO, and so that they would have needed to change their inventory, the organization inventory, to add another DREO.
So AG, what guidance would you give to us on the basis that
the REO will then need to make the changes in 2023 budget, that there are changes in his organizational unit?
So this could possibly be a query that the AG of the General's office may very well pick up on the basis of salary.
From my position, I don't see there's a need for that to be a query.
Remember, the region has
There's
always...
no need for that.
Yes, I agree with the AG. And two, the region has always had a position for both portfolios, for a DREO finance and DREO admin.
No, but I'm not contending that. What I'm saying is that the budget that was approved does not reflect that.
Well, we were so guided by what the Accountant General just indicated that she don't see an issue with it. For the 23rd...
There's just need for the REO just to make the necessary amendment for his 2023 budget.
That's correct.
Thank you very much, AG.
You're
As
welcome.
you know, we are guided by the documents that we have before us.
Members, do we have any additional question? Member Siraj?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Not on that issue, Mr. Chairman, if we can go on. 2017, paragraph 957, Mr. Chairman. It's stated here that the Regional Tender Board awarded a contract with a sum of $6.4 million. 957, 2017. And there was an approved variation of $1.8 million. Can we be told when was this variation approved? At what point during the execution of this contract was there deemed to be a need for a variation?
Chairman?
Go ahead.
I will ask the engineer to answer this question.
You have the floor, member. You state your name for the record.
My name is Truth Chair. Our protocols established. My name is Elfar Flores. I wouldn't be able to say the exact time of the variation for that project.
Why is that? Someone move their phone that is probably close to the microphone. Could you state why is it that you're not in a position to answer the member's question?
I was not the project engineer for that project, sir.
You have a follow-up, Member Siraj?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I understand that the former REO is with us today. Is that correct?
Mr. Gordon was REO in 2018.
Oh, so on this particular paragraph, Mr. Chairman, there was an engineer estimate for $6.9 million. It is stated here that the Regional Tender Board made the award for the sum of $6.4 million and subsequently a variation of $1.8 million, taking the contract sum to $8.2 million. Is there any way we can know whether there were, how many bids came in for this particular project, and if we can get that information, if the amount that were tendered by other bidders?
Chairman, there were 7 bids received, and the contract was awarded to bidder number 3.
Meaning the third lowest responsive bidder?
Yes, sir.
And with the variation, would this have taken the amount higher than the other bidders who would have been deemed responsive?
I cannot say this time.
And you do not have the information, and you do not know whether the variation was deemed necessary during the course of the execution of the work, or whether it was deemed necessary at the time of signing of the contract.
No comment. No comment, Chair.
Mr. Chairman, paragraph 958. The job here, the engineer estimate is 9 million. A contract was awarded for 8.9 million. And subsequently, there was a variation of almost $3 million. My question is that, again, at what point during the execution of the contract was it deemed necessary to have a variation?
Are you in possession of those documentation, Ari?
What I can say, we had 10 bidders for that project. The final revised sum came up to $11,905,000, and the contract sum was $8,947,990. So the final sum was over the contract. Was over the contract sum.
Member Siraj.
Mr. Chairman, it's stated clearly here that it was awarded for the sum of $8.9 million. That's for upgrading of drainage system, Wisdom Street, Mackenzie, was awarded for the sum of $8.9 million. There was an engineer estimate of $9 million. And then there was the variation of 2.9, which took the contracts, the final sum to $11.9 million. There were, as the RU said, 10 bidders. The company or person who received this award was the lowest responsive bidder.
No comment, Chair. I don't have that information at the time, right now.
And you don't know at what point in time the variation was deemed necessary?
No, sir.
Mr. Chairman, can we ask that the information be provided if it's not available?
Are you going a week suffice to provide a PSU, right?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, on 959, big project, I think this was the 2017, the construction of the regional admin building was awarded for the sum of 265.5 million against an engineer estimate of 249.262 million. At the time of examination by the Auditor General, the site was abandoned and no personnel or equipment from the contractor was seen. Can the REO inform PAC what is the outcome of this project?
Chairman, Chairman, the project was terminated in 2021.
There was a mobilization advance of $39 million. What happened with that mobilization advance?
I was advised that the contractor would have covered the money in the works that were done.
Member Ziraj. Mr. Chairman, 961. There is an overpayment here on this project for the general rehabilitation of Christianborough Secondary School at Wisma. Can the accounting officer inform PAC if this overpayment was recovered?
No comment here. The money wasn't recovered.
And in arriving at the overpayment, Mr. Chairman, can the accounting officer inform who would have signed off on payments without doing the proper measurement, which would have resulted in this overpayment?
The engineer who was dealing with that project is no longer within the system.
Do we have any record, Mr. Chairman, at the RDC to point us to the information who would have signed off? If it is the engineer signed off, can we be told if it was the engineer who signed off on the payments?
Yes, Common Chair. We have the contract here.
At 962, Mr. Chairman, there is a construction of a water trough at Wakwani. There's another overpayment here. And a part repayment was made. Can we be told what has become of the outstanding amount to be repaid by the contractor?
Only 20,000 of the money was paid back by the contractor so far. Letters would have been sent to them. And
where was the last letter sent? And is this contractor still bidding for contracts in the region?
No, sir, he's not bidding. The last letter was sent on August 25th, 2021.
Mr. Chairman, at 963, there appears to be some difficulties here for the construction of health center and living quarters at Wairuni in the Berbice River. Apparently, this contract was terminated. It's not very clear how and why it was terminated, but there were a number of payments that were made, including an advance payment of 3.9 million. The contract sum was 9.1 million. No, sorry, the contract sum was 19.6 million. Total payments made would have been $9.1 million. And at the time of examination of this project, the site was abandoned and contractor demobilized. According to the Auditor General, it would appear that the actual basis for termination of the contract could not be determined. Can the accounting officer inform PAC if the monies paid were recovered?
Yes, Comrade Chair. And the contract was terminated with the contractor, and it was given to another contractor, and the works have been completed since.
Mr. Chairman, in relation to 2018, if I can direct the REO's attention to paragraph 1107, Amelia Ward Primary School, there is an overpayment here, Mr. Chairman, of $379,000. Can we be told who would have signed off on measured works that would have resulted in this overpayment of $379,000?
Where are you?
The person who would have signed off on this project also is no longer with the RDC. And my knowledge is out of the jurisdiction.
So the person made a number of small repayments, but they are now, the contractor is out of the jurisdiction of the
the person signed off.
And is there anyone else following up on the overpayment?
Yes, sir. Letters were sent to the contractor in 2019, and the last payment was made. The last payment was made in 2022, and March is here.
Is the contractor still bidding for contracts in the region?
No, sir.
But there's some progress here. Mr. Chairman, can I move on to 1108 with your permission?
Go ahead.
The contract for external work, the RDC office in Ichuni. This is not a big contract, but the overpayment is huge compared to the overall contract sum, $661,000. Who would have signed off on these payments that would have resulted in this overpayment?
Are you?
The individual that signed off is no longer with the RDC. Mr.
Honorable Member Siraj.
That would have been the engineer Are you?
Yes, sir. The contractor would have sent in a letter. We would have contacted the contractor. They would have sent in a letter indicating they will start paying back the monies owed.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask the Auditor General here at paragraph 1109? It is stated here that the contract for repairs and maintenance of boathouse at Kwakwani was awarded in the sum of $4.8 million by way of waiver by the Regional Tender Board. Can we be told exactly what was waived by the Regional Tender Board?
There's a question to the Audit Office, Mr. Seabright.
Right. The contract for repairs and maintenance of boathouse at Kwakwani was awarded in the sum of $4.8 million by way of waiver by the Regional Tender Board. Can we get some clarification on what was meant by this sentence here?
From the Audit Office?
That is correct, Mr. Chairman. I'm reading from the Audit Office.
Where is it?
Mr. Chair, that information was provided to us in the minutes of the tender board, and that was all the information we had, that it was awarded by a waiver.
Was this project advertised, or am I to deduce from this statement that the Regional Tender Board waived the requirement to advertise for this project? Are you, Mr. Chairman?
That's for the RU or the AG's office?
Well, the AG office don't seem to know. Well, the AG office is saying that they're quoting from the minutes of the Regional Tender Board. So.
RU, can you provide a response to the member's question?
Yes, Commissioner Chair. I will ask the former RU, Mr. Gordon, to answer this question, please.
Where are you?
Okay, thank you very much, Chairman and members of the committee. Chairman, in that period, there was a deliberate attempt made to empower the residents of those communities in the Baris, Demerara, and Essequibo regions. And through the process of community participation, there were several projects that were taken out and given to the NDC in the case of Kwakwani, and the community, the Tushao councils, or the councils in the various Tushao villages that you had. So Ururu, Wiruni, Sandhills, all of those, including Riverview, Rockstone, they were all given projects under this method of community participation. There was a maximum limit of $5 million, and so the tender board had to waive those requirements so that they can participate in the projects.
Noted.
Thank you, former Mr. Chairman. So this project was awarded to the residents of this community. And on the matter of overpayment, I noted that this is being contested. Has this matter been settled by now?
No.
Are you?
To date, no, sir. we would have sent letters. Letters were sent by the former RU, indicating that there was an overpayment of 583,000. But no response and no monies were sent back to the region.
Mr. Chairman, I think this is a matter for the accounting or the budget agency and the Auditor General office, because the Auditor General is claiming that there was an overpayment, but it is stated here that the head of the budget agency was contesting that finding. So I'm asking if this matter has since been resolved, because I think if the head of the budget agency or the accounting officer is saying that there was no overpayment, then the matter would have had to be clarified with the Auditor General so as to do some kind of reconciliation between the findings of the Auditor General and the claim being made by as it's stated here, the head of the budget agency. Was any effort made for this reconciliation to be done?
Common Chair, I will ask Mr. Gordon to answer this question, please.
Yes, during the period that I was in office, that there were efforts made to, and the Auditor General was written on the matter, indicating that we need to have a revisit done of the project, because at the time there were issues with electrical installation and all of that, and we had found that the installation was there. There was light in the boathouse. In addition to that, the guard hut was not, we didn't see any estimate or anything like that made for the guard hut. So we really needed the Auditor General's office to come back and to assess the guard hut and the boathouse with the lighting and all the other fixtures that have been attached, and to then make a determination as to what exactly is owed to the RDC.
Mr. Chairman, like I said, there is a finding by the Auditor General. It's contested by the agency, and the agency is saying that there is no overspend, there is no overpayment. So one would have expected that some amount of efforts be made to ensure that there was actually no overpayment. Mr. Chairman, I don't normally ask questions on this matter of logbooks, but in the instance of this region here at 11/11 of 2018, what stood out here is that out of 73 pieces of equipment, machinery, and vehicles, logbooks were not presented for 61 of them. And can we be told why logbooks were not presented for 61 out of 73 pieces of equipment, machinery, vehicles?
Common Chair, I would like to ask the former REO to respond, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honourable member, it was a sore issue when I joined the system and found the same problem. It was not something that only came from the Auditor General's office. It was something that also came from the Ministry of Finance, in that they came and found that these books, and the officers were called in, the internal audit department, small one that we had, albeit, was called in to deal with it. The transportation officer was also pulled in to ensure that these books were fixed. And so I guess by now we are in a better position than we were at that stage when you said 60 versus 70. At least by now we should be in a better position because the process had started since then.
Mr. Chairman, and there's a paragraph 1150. This is for the upgrade to drainage system at Dakama Circle. There's an overpayment of $810,000. Has the region made any effort to recover this overpayment of $810,000? And who would have signed off on these works for payments to be made where you have a variance with measured works? Are you?
With your permission, ask Mr. Gardner to answer the question, please.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Honourable Member, this is